thanks, Anna, for your introduction and for the opportunity to present today, albeit a relatively short one. Graham, if you could share my presentation slides, that would be really helpful. And move on to the first slide. Super. So yes, I'm one of two specialist speech and language therapists at Call Scotland, and we are a national communication and assistive technology service based at the University of Edinburgh. We primarily support children and young people in education, and I do have to say how great that session was from Paul and the other parents sharing their insights of the experiences that they and their children and young people have had in education, and really important for us to hear that, as well as others working in education. I'm sure Paul won't mind me mentioning again that I do know him professionally, as well as his son Lachlan. In fact, he's one of our longer standing learners we've been supporting over, I think, what must be about 8 or 9 years with communication and with access to the curriculum. So there's not time to share any more information about Call with you right now, but I would invite you to view our short video, which my colleague Claire has uploaded to the conference exhibitor page, and also to visit our website called scotland.org.uk. But today my focus is on individuals with communication support needs whose verbal communication through speech is limited, perhaps it's not possible at all, and to provide a bit of guidance on the use of augmentative and alternative communication systems. Now, given the wide use of iPads to support communication and the growing use, I'm going to cover this particular type of technology in this presentation today. And just as an aside, for any social media fans out there, please look out for Call Scotland's Twitter and Facebook posts today and otherwise, and engage with me directly using my Twitter username, which is on the slide there for you to see. So moving on to the next slide, please, Graham. So expect that some of you are familiar with the term AEC, which you'll be using, but just in case you're not completely sure, here's a definition taken from the UK website Communication Matters. So it does cover techniques and technologies that support or replace spoken communication when this is difficult. It includes a range of systems from signing to printed symbols, alphabet, word boards, communication books, and communication aids. Now, there are many different types of communication aids which require support to implement, and our recommendation always is that you're a family member. If you're interested in AEC, you first seek out a multidisciplinary assessment involving a speech and language therapist in order to receive the best advice, access to equipment, and the support to use it. Next slide, please. Now, the timing of this conference and the opportunity to be involved is really quite remarkable, because today marks the beginning of International AEC Awareness Month. And this is celebrated around the world each October with the goal of raising awareness and to inform the public about the many ways in which people communicate using different communication systems and aids. Now, there are a number of learning opportunities on offer from different organisations, as well as equipment, software and app discounts from suppliers during the month. And Call are joining in with the awareness raising with some AEC workshops and learning modules, and I'll provide you with a link to those at the end. Next slide, please. So why use iPads for AEC? So I have got a wee bit of a question for you here, and I wonder who, when you're looking at the different users here, from young people, children, young people and adults, who can recognise the person in the middle photo. Probably one of the highest profile ambassadors for AEC in recent years, who would endorse the use of an iPad for communication. I wonder if anybody can remember his name. Perhaps his stage name? Well, yes, it's Lee Ridley, stage name Lost Voice Guy. Stand-up comedian from County Durham. He has cerebral palsy and is unable to speak. However, he hasn't let this hold him back from his achievements and from being the first comedian in Britain to use a communication aid in his routines. But there's more, and the clue is on the communication message on his iPad, which I know will be tricky for you to see, but it says, "I'm a winner." Yes, back in 2018, he won the 12th TV series of Britain's Got Talent. But don't worry, I'm not going to repeat any of his jokes today for fear of offending anyone due to the language used or the content. So whether using an iPad with a large audience or in a one-to-one situation, there are many features that make them the AAC of choice for some users. Next slide, please, Graham. So here are some of the main features and the reasons why you might choose to use an iPad. And I've given them my own personal ranking or rating from experience in supporting individuals to use them with 1, 2, or 3 ticks, depending on how well they fulfill the needs of users in that area. So in terms of appearance, generally, individuals like the appearance, and it's very acceptable as a mainstream device, the iPad, and its common use really now in all sectors of society. It is pretty portable, what with different choice of sizes, cases and straps, also mounting options for wheelchair and desktop. The battery life, it's pretty good. Although obviously this does depend on the usage throughout the day. However, durability and reliability, especially with iOS updates and not being too sure how they're going to impact use of the iPad, they're not as durable and reliable as specifically designed communication aids, but protective cases can help mitigate this. And also the fact that the cost to replace is much lower it means that, perhaps even although they're not quite as reliable or durable, they are much less expensive to replace. So lots of people, in terms of ease of use, lots of people are becoming more familiar with using iPads now, and that means that there's often someone to call on or information online or in YouTube to access, which certainly helps with usability. Now, the last 3 features I'd like to look at just a wee bit more closely, as this is an area which has developed more significantly or most significantly recently. So next slide, please, Graham. So in terms of alternative access, I've given this feature 1 tick, because it's one area that Apple, those behind iPads, has been slow to enable alternative access for those who find it challenging to use a touch screen as well as the physical buttons and controls on the iPad due to the difficulties they might have with fine motor control. But thankfully, along with improvements to iPad's inbuilt accessibility settings, there is an option to connect and use a switch to follow and select an image or item on the screen. And more recently, with the new USB to Lightning adapter being available, it's possible to use pretty much any standard USB mouse or tracker ball now with your iPad. For those wanting head control, or eye gaze options, these are slowly coming. Head control, which is based on recognition of the position of your face, sometimes referred to as Face ID, is now an inbuilt option for the larger, newer iPad Pros, and a couple of the AAC apps make really good use of this feature. Eye gaze, or eye tracking as it's sometimes called, is now possible with the Skyle eye tracker. This is also for iPad Pro, and that's what put on the slide there. This is an interesting development, and we're looking into this at call. Next slide, please. In terms of the iPad voice, so I've given this feature 2 ticks, and although in the past there's been a limited range of voices for individuals to choose as their speaking voice, this is improving. And we know that, and research backs this up, how important it is to users to have an appropriate voice. It really becomes part of their identity. And we're aware of this sort of scenario and different scenarios that we've encountered, such as a young person from East End Glasgow. You don't really want to sound like you're a person from Knightsbridge or some other fancy area in London. So Call's been working hard with our partners to make Scottish voices available on iPads as well as other AEC devices. And that's Scottish male and female children and adult voices. And another mention for Lachlan Morris, Paul's son. He, in fact, was the first person to choose Andrew, one of the Scottish children's voices, to use in his communication device, and in fact featured on national BBC News when this was launched. So a couple of the apps, Grid for iPad being one, use or you can select all of the Scottish voices. I'd just like to play one of them for you, and that's Andrew. Hopefully, if I hold the speaker up to my microphone, you can hear it clearly.
Hi, my name is Andrew and I'm one of the new Scottish children's voices. I think I sound quite cool.
And what I'd like to do is to let you hear one of the adult voices, and this the other app on the slide is Predictable 6, and this is a text-based app, and you can access all of the voices in Predictable 6 too. So here is Stuart.
My name is Stuart. I hope that you're enjoying the Cerebral Palsy Conference. It's great connecting with you today to share the benefits of iPads in communication. I can even say Aughtermuchty without any trouble.
So if you'd like to hear any more samples of the Scottish voices, if you were to visit our website, thescottishvoice.org.uk, you can find that there. Next slide, please. So this is about the range of apps, and I've given this area 3 ticks, given the number and range that are now available. But there lies a challenge, how to choose from the hundreds out there. So this app wheel shows our own resource that we've developed and made available to anyone to access and to download from our website. It's a selection of apps that we have tried and tested either ourselves or has been recommended by others. We include those that we think are usable, reliable, supported and stand out in their category in some way. It was given a major update in June, so should be an up-to-date account of what's available now. Next slide, please. So this is a download page for the app, which is on our main call website. First of all, go to callscotland.org.uk, select downloads on the black ribbon, then posters and leaflets, click on the app name, and then you should see a download button. It's a PDF file. If you view it on your PC or tablet, the app names and images are clickable through to further information. Next slide, please. So there we have it, some insights from me and guidance on using iPads to support communication. I hope it's been useful. I mentioned that Call are supporting AEC Awareness Month through providing workshops. We have 2 on offer, one on the 8th of October and one on the 29th. So please visit our website for further information on that. Also some free webinars and some online learning modules that you can access anytime. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, or if you'd like to request a copy of the slides. Thanks very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.